Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Kovac Enterprises. We are at the conclusion of this small series with the PT-109 boat that was commanded by Lieutenant Junior Grade John F. Kennedy back in the early 1940s. So basically what I did was add the rest of the parts on the deck, and I also did a little more detailed painting, especially like around the life raft itself on the bow of the boat. It did come molded with a couple oars inside the raft, so I went ahead and detailed that out with a little bit of some brown Craft Smart acrylic paint and a couple of the other accents on the life raft themselves. I used some black satin acrylic with a toothpick to highlight those as well. The next thing that I actually put on the decking was the lifeline stanchions. I know sometimes if you read up on the history, John F. Kennedy, sometimes he did away with those, or he stowed them away under deck. But I just went ahead and chose to go ahead and glue those in place since I had them. So basically, once that was dried and cured, I went ahead and used some, let me turn this a little bit here, okay. I used some of my wife's threading from her sewing machine, and we went ahead and I chose black. You can see how thin that is running across the back of my hand there, but I figured that was a good scale for the 172 scale of the PT boat. I held the thread in place using some of this glue and glaze, which is this right here. I've used many times before. It does come out white, but once it's cured, it actually turns transparent. So that is what I decided to use for that. And so that took care of that. The upper part of, I guess, the windshield here, I just went ahead and used a Sharpie black pen, marker, just to kind of give that a little bit more accent. Once that was done, I went ahead and installed the 4 torpedo tubes. I also gave them a nice little black wash themselves, so that it looked like it appeared it was in combat mode, and it's been used quite a bit. So we went ahead and did that. And also, when I was doing a little research on John F. Kennedy, he didn't normally have the mast up at the time. But even though this came with the mast in the kit, I went ahead and I'll kind of bring this in a little bit. I actually glued the mast laying in the down position for the moment until another person takes command of the PT boat, or if he decided maybe in the future to raise it up. But there it is. So I went ahead and took care of that. And as we get to the back part here of the boat itself, I went ahead and added the 4th crew member position next to the gun. And as far as the flag itself, it's actually 2 halves of a decal. I went ahead and glued those together, and then I attached it again with the glue and glaze to the mast itself. And once that was cured overnight, I went ahead and installed that on the decking. As we kind of turn this a little bit, I'll flip this over so you can see the work on the propellers. So there's actually 3 propellers with the shaft and supports along with the rudders. Once I installed the rudders, of course I painted them to match the color of the bottom of the hull, which is the anti-fouling paint they used, which was that reddish brown color. The actual props themselves, went ahead and chose the Tamiya copper XF-6, and we went ahead and hand brushed that onto the like I said, propeller shafts, the supports, and the props themselves, because they were very, very fragile. So I just went ahead and just lightly brushed over them until that looked right. So that was taken care of. And speaking of propellers, the propellers were part of a 3 12-cylinder Packard engines, and each engine, of course, had its own gas tank for each one. The horsepower generated from those motors was around 4,500 horsepower, and the top speed of the PT boat was right around 40 to 45 knots, depending on what research you do on it. So, and also basically the boat that the John F. Kennedy was commanding, it's considered a Elco boat. It was 80 feet in length. It had a 21-foot beam, and it displaced the water about 33 tons. And of course, the Elco boat is a division of the Elco Boat Company, which was part of the Naval Division in Bayonne, New Jersey. So that's a little history for you on that itself. But overall, I really enjoyed this boat. While I got it here, let me go ahead and maybe give you a closer look at the display stand. I kind of set this lightly there. Okay. So we'll kind of bring that in here a little bit. And of course, the display stand itself gives you the PT-109 insignia on it. It also gives you the Mosquito Squadron logo as well. And for that, I basically used the bright blue Craft Smart mixed in with a little bit of some white to form the color of the sky. And then for the waves, I just went with the dark blue Craft Smart and highlighted the caps with the white itself. The Mosquito riding the torpedo, I just used black just to kind of bring it out against the color of the sky. And then the torpedo itself, I just went with the Sharpie permanent marker metallic silver. And of course you got one on that side, and then you flip it around, you got one on that side here as well. So that's basically the display stand that came with the kit. So we'll go ahead and put that back in place, and we'll go ahead and display the boat back in like so. Okay. So as I was saying, this is a fun little kit. I've always enjoyed the PT-109 as a little kid. My first experience seeing one was basically watching the movie PT-109 that starred Cliff Robertson at the time. And of course, anybody who knew about McHale's Navy, you know, they had a boat similar to this as well. So, like I said, it's one of my favorite boats, and I'm glad I got a chance to go ahead and put one together. So, with that being said, we will catch you on the next video. I hope everybody has a good day, and we will catch you next time. So, until then, see you later. Bye.